Hello Ipswich Jets fans, this is Blake from the After the 80 podcast, brought to you by the Ipswich Jets Leagues Club. Next week we're allowing you to grab the joystick and control the flight, and you can ask the crew a couple of questions and we'll answer them on next week's episode. Comment below your questions and we'll select 2 lucky fans and answer their questions live on After the 80. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome to our latest edition of the After the 80 podcast, brought to you by the Ipswich Jets Leagues Club. I'm Blake Mara, and today I'm not joined by the great Moses and Moses can't be here today. Just want to actually wish him all the best. Something you guys might not, there's plenty of stuff you don't know about Moses, but in retirement from his professional rugby league career, he's actually been doing a little bit of training, and he can't be here today. He's down in Sydney for the next 2 days, doing a mini training camp, getting ready for his PWA debut. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's Pro Wrestling Australia. Excitingly enough, he's following his old teammate James Graham, and childhood passion of his was always pro wrestling growing up. So want to wish him all the best at his training camp, and looking forward to sneaking down to Sydney in May to watch him do his thing. Be very interesting. So all the best to Moses, and looking forward to getting him back on the podcast next week. But that's enough about the great man. It's time to talk all things Jets, and we want to kick off with a special mention to Richardson Park Goodna, who really turned it on the weekend for 2 games against Burleigh. It was an exciting day. It was Old Boys Day. The club celebrated club legend Nat Neal as the third Ipswich Jet of all time. He was on their commemorative jerseys, and the boys managed to get a nice 18-16 win over last year's premiers to celebrate. Nat was, I guess, a larger-than-life player for the Ipswich Jets when he was pulling on the jersey. He was there yesterday to enjoy the day and celebrate. 6 Alan Langer medals as the best player of the year for the Ipswich Jets. No one comes close to that. He featured in the Queensland Cup Team of the Year twice, and was Player of the Year, taking out the Petro 7 Aceva medal in 2018 as well. So a much storied career wearing the green and white, and it was terrific to celebrate him on the weekend with a win. But Nat wasn't alone on the weekend as people we celebrated with large milestones. We also had club legend and now life member Dean Arbuthnot. We celebrated the great Dino, as we call him, Angry Dad, who celebrated his 300th game as our head trainer for Hostplus Cup, which is a magnificent milestone. It was also, some people were saying it was also the second time they'd seen him smile. So congratulations to the great Dino. He was also commemorated with a orange shirt jersey that had an image of him on the front of it, and it was a very special day. And then, seeing him announced as a life member for the Ipswich Jets, on behalf of the iCare Group Australia Ipswich Jets, I just want to say there's no one more deserving, mate. So I hope you really enjoyed your day, and I'm really happy that the boys could get a win for you. The day did kick off with Mal Meninga Cup. Our guys unfortunately went down in what was a very tight first half. We went into the break 6-4 down, but ultimately Burleigh ran out 36-10 winners. Very hot conditions on the day. A lot of people were, I guess, commenting about how hot it was prior to the game, and then the heat rule actually got put into place. So it was around 32 degrees, and there's not much shade to escape at Goodna, so everyone was feeling the heat, including the crowd. First half was a really gritty Ipswich Jets team that took the field, overcome a fair deficit in the penalty count there, and a few silly errors that sort of brought pressure onto our team. But I thought the effort on our try line in that first half was absolutely terrific, and we went into the break 6-4, and we were confident if we could swing that momentum that we could definitely, change things up in the second half. Unfortunately, though, probably, under 19s players, and probably in that stage of their career where they're maturing, they're learning about the long game, probably tried to flex our muscles a little bit too early and come up with a couple of errors in that open exchange of the second half. And I think all the fatigue from the workload we got through in the first half sort of came came back to haunt us in the end, and they ended up putting on a couple of really special tries. So massive credit there to the Burleigh Bears Mal Meninga Cup team. They performed exceptionally well. I thought their middles did a really good job. I think our former player, Tomasi Vaitai, ran for over 100 metres. Their lock, Ronan Bryford, ran for over 100 metres, made 30 tackles, missed one. And sometimes when your middles are playing like that too, I thought the dummy half, Cooper Murphy, did a really good job at bringing the forwards onto the ball. So sometimes statistics don't tell everything. His impact on the game was pretty obvious for all to see. And the other one from their team I'd give a really good shout out for his performance was the fullback, So Fasavalu, filling in for Seth Gundry, who went up and played for the Broncos, ran for 200 metres as well. And I thought he was absolutely tireless. And it's a credit to Burleigh to have a player like him ready to step in when you lose a talent like Seth, and someone like that to come in and run for 200 metres. Goes to show why they, were last year's premiers, and why if they get everything right and make the finals, they'll be a threat again. But as far as our boys go, I thought Justin Talima Winetti off the bench was massive. He ended up playing massive minutes too. He capped out the game with 57 minutes straight in that heat. He ran for 150 metres. He made 30 tackles, no miss. It was a terrific performance from him. Likewise, as was our dummy half off the bench, Zane Farrell, topping the tackle count with Clinton Smith not far behind him. A lot of lessons to take out of that game. I think it's funny, trying to win 4 games in a row in under-19s level is quite a tricky thing, and part of that comes down to, once again, that maturity of handling good performances. And I think maybe there was a little part of us that maybe got a little bit carried away with our own success. And the beautiful thing though about footy is 7 days later you're doing it all again. So we'll head up to Redcliffe and have a crack at making the finals. We're lucky enough to have our destiny in our own hands, and hopefully we can grasp that. But that's not the main event of the weekend, guys. The main event is our Hostplus Cup boys, and they had a fantastic win over last year's premiers, 18 points to 6. Ultimately was a very close game. We got off to a good start in that first half. We actually scored all 18 of our points in the first half, and in the second half managed to defend really well. Kept Burleigh to 2 tries in that second half, and that was enough to get the game done. So Burleigh missed a couple through the Brisbane Broncos having to call upon some guys they wouldn't normally do with all the carnage out of Friday night. So a young 5'8" from their team, Bailey McConnell, made his Hostplus Cup debut and scored a try. I thought he was really good. As were their middles, who made a really good fist of the game. But I think from our end, Blakey Lenahan topping the tackle count again, running for over 100 metres. He's really been a consistent player in the Hostplus Cup for a few years now as a middle, and you can't do that accidentally. So a lot of flowers have got to fall at Blakey's feet. He's been performing really well. As was Jack Natapu, massive on the weekend, 30 tackles, 1 missed, ran for over 150 metres against last year's premiers. It's an almighty effort. And then also a special shout out to Ruben Moyle, who come off the bench as our 18th man. Goes to show how important the 18th man is, especially now with the concussion protocols in the game, and the second concussion protocol. Bringing that 18th man in. Obviously, we lost Dion Tialpa in the first half, and Dean Aramayo is a winger from the Gold Coast Titans, and Dion was our halfback. So you can't really plan to carry, coverage for outside backs and halves in your 4-man bench. Having Ruben come on and being able to fill in at 9 allowed Moses to go back to halfback, and what Ruben did across that 60 minutes that he got on the field was fantastic, and I'm sure he's going to give Ty plenty to think about when it comes to selections for next week. I think something that probably most pundits wouldn't know is Ruben actually went and did a park run that morning, so shout out to our Saturday morning park run. He went and did the 5K because he assumed he wouldn't be playing as the 18th man, and then next thing you know he had to get through 60 minutes against last year's premiers. And he did a fantastic job too at that, racking up 26 tackles in his 50-minute stint. So a fantastic knock there. And shout out too to our very own Moses Mbai, who got player of the match after the game. So next week, our Hostplus Cup boys will head to Papua New Guinea Last year's trip was, a very ordinary start, so it'll be really interesting actually to see what the team has taken away as far as preparation. It is always a tough trip to get out there to Port Moresby and play the Hunters. They're so beloved by their fans. It's such an experience for all players that go there. Since the NRL bid's been announced, I think things have only sort of magnified in that area. So it'll be interesting to see. The boys fly out on Friday. They come back Sunday. So on behalf of the Jets, all of us back here in Aussie will be cheering you guys on. And we're sitting first after the first 5 rounds, which is a massive achievement for Ty Ingebrigtsen and his coaching staff. And hopefully we can keep the momentum rolling over in Papua New Guinea despite a few injuries on the weekend. So that's all from us this week on After the 80. A little bit shorter this week without our great man Moses, but hopefully we can get him back next week undamaged and we can talk all things Jets again. So see you next time, guys.